Any other questions?
No, Sheldon, are you going to, is this PowerPoint, are you going to share this with us as well?
Yes, this PowerPoint actually is on the shared location. I can forward the exact.
Well, no, the reason being is I just looked at the Word file. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at everything else. That's my fault.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's shared, and I can email it as well. It's not too big,
okay.
So yes.
Okay, and of course, if you start to use your individual script or even the shift script, and if you run across any issues or concerns, just send us an email, and we'll address those with you. Sheldon will. I will not, because this is
I like how you don't just say Sheldon can do the work. That's good. Nice call.
Well, no, I mean, on this he has to. It's out of my hands. I don't know how to do that part of it. So.
Okay. Anything else?
No, do I turn the meeting back over to you, Paula?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I have another call that I have to participate in, so I'm gonna drop off for now.
Okay, thank you, Sheldon.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so you guys should be seeing the FEAT OPS tool, which is for the operational improvement. So once again, you did get a preview of this in Savannah, but we've made some revisions and corrections to it. So the use of this tool is really for those types of operational projects that really the travel demand model isn't detailed enough to really pick up the implications of those. Within the user guide, there's actually a list of projects that are there. This is much more of a sketch level planning tool because of the wide variety of different impacts or scopes that these types of projects could be. Oftentimes, they are the projects where if you're doing a major project like a major interchange reconstruction, you're actually going to do a very detailed simulation model that simulates traffic flow and everything. This is not meant in any way to replace that, but you would use this much earlier in the process just to see what the potential benefits and costs might be. Okay, so do want to make that disclaimer that this is much more of a sketch level because we do have to make some simplifying assumptions with this, given just the wide variety of potential projects in scopes that could be included. Okay, so to start the analysis, starts very much like the own model tool. We do have kind of a quick reference guide here. We did again include the notes that all user selection fields indicated by cells in the orange are dropped down, and then user required inputs are highlighted in green. So we can go to that. So again, the user inputs, you're going to set this up the same way that you do the own model tool. So I'm going to just name the project here. I'm going to go to my folder, select where I'm going to put it, and put this in the same location. And then this has the same requirement that you need to add that extra backslash at the end. Okay, so once again, you come down through here and you want to use county or state wage standards. So we're going to continue to use county on this. You can choose between your economic impact models, whether that be a REMI or M-Plan, and then you can choose the state. So let's use Georgia as an example here. Here you choose your discount rate here, and we have the drop-down menu of 3 or 7. Your starting year analysis, and again the drop-down menu, so you could pick any of these. So let's say we're going to be looking for projects for next year. your end of analysis year, and then the base year of REMI. And then once again, you can choose to include the fatality, the value of the statistical value of life or not. Okay, so those are all the selections that you have to make, and then from that you can proceed to step 2. So with step 2, this will let you evaluate individual projects, or you can evaluate a whole package of projects all together, which can come in handy if you're looking at trying to do an evaluation of your STIP. So some of your STIP projects you would model through your travel demand model, but then some of them would be of the type that you wouldn't model, but you could come in and do a whole package at one time if you're not needing to see the impacts of necessarily individual projects. However, this does allow you to do that. So let's say if we do 2 projects here. So we're going to do 2 projects, and you can confirm those projects. Okay. So your project numbers are going to be 1 and 2. So your project names, you might want to use, if you have a specific code within your SIP or your project number or your name there, you could always use that. We're going to be real easy here and call projects A and B. And then you have a drop-down menu. And so here you can look at the types of projects that we're talking about here. So let's say we're going to do an innovative intersection. The project motivation for the ops tool, we use both operations and safety. So you can do the both together. You can do them separately. We're going to say that this is going to be both operational and safety. And then the county or region, why not? Let's just give, wouldn't add another one of these. They've been doing well with them, right, Tom? Okay, and then the only other data that you have to have as a user here is your average annual daily traffic through here. So let's just say this is a busy one. That's why we want to do it, okay? And then project B, it could be, we're just going to do some signal timing changes here. And then this one's just going to be for operations only. And we're going to do this, so let's pick another in the coastal region. And for this particular, let's say we have 7,500, okay? So there's all the data that you need to put in, and then you can do the calculate and proceed to step 3. And again, down here, your status bar will kind of show you the processing that's going on. And of course, the more projects that you're going to analyze at a single time, the more time this will take. But then what it does is it populates the project detail. You do get individual detail. You get the detail for each project. So even if you're doing a batch of projects, you still have the capability to do a batch and get this report for each individual project. Okay. So here is another place where you can go in and override some of the default values here. And this is a case where you may actually have better data than what are currently included within the assumptions. So for example, your average annual daily traffic growth. So we use an average of 1% as the default, but if you know that this is in a high growth area, you could override that and say it's going to be 2%. Okay, and then you'll notice when you use a user override, it'll tell you that it changes the value that was used too. The average truck volume, the default is 10%, but if you know this is a high truck corridor, then maybe that's going to be 22%. Okay, and then it changes. The level of improvement, this is considered to be a major improvement because, again, this is one of those innovative interchanges, the continuous flow. And then here's where you may actually have more detailed data. If you have done like an interchange justification report or any sort of analysis where you've actually done some traffic projections and you have better information than this, then by all means you can go in and change that. So maybe the no build level of service, if that's an F, it may be fine. But if you have specific information on the delay per vehicle, then you can change that. And let's say here we're saying it's 55 seconds, but let's say really it's only 45 seconds is what's been estimated. So you can go in and change that. The other thing that this allows you to do is to do some sensitivity analysis too. So if you're trying to find how bad would delay have to be in order for this to be a good investment? You could go in and kind of use different delay values here. Okay, here's another thing too that's set up in here are the percent of leisure trips, the percent of auto commute trips, and the percent of business trips. Again, this varies by state, and since we were doing this for all of the states, we use some averages that are out there. But if you have better information, you may want to go in and change this. So particularly in your high tourist areas, you're probably going to have a much higher percentage that are leisure trips as opposed to business or commute trips. If you're in the downtown, if the project is in the downtown region where you have a lot of commute traffic in and out, then you may have a higher percentage of commute trips or business trips. Okay. But then over here, this is just giving you what the actual annual value of time savings are, and then the annual safety savings. So once again, you'll see that it gives you the start year and then the forecast year, and it gives you the same information down here. So then you can proceed to the summary report after you've made the changes that need to be made. And so then this is where in the summary report, this is where it's going to aggregate all the projects together. One of the things that I forgot to do, I'm bad about this, is once you set this, you have to hit your confirm selection. Because what that does, it then populates the rest of these folders. So since Georgia is a REMI state, then it's going to populate with the REMI tab. If you're an M-Plan state, it would then populate with your M-Plan tab. Okay. So now we can proceed to 4, which is your REMI input. We can run the saving macro here. So as soon as you run that macro, you'll notice that the name of your model up here changes, or your file. Okay. And then if we go back to the files where we told it to save, you can see here that we have the REMI input file that is saved here. And so then you would open REMI and proceed to run REMI. And then once the REMI has ran, you would come back. This is supposed to be taking a little while to close out. You would reopen your file and then paste in your REMI results, and it runs just like the own model tool from there.
Paula, this is where we need to remove the lines too.
Yes. Yeah, so for right now, Tron, anytime that you guys are creating a REMI input file, you need to go in and open that text file and remove those additional lines.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so you can see that it closed, but it did save it right here. Okay. So any questions or comments on the ops tool? It's really straightforward. It was developed to use the minimum amount of user input. But once again, the trade-off of that is that it is sketch level. Right, questions?
No, I was just trying to thank Paula about, I know for myself, I'm going to go through these files so that when the next session comes around, I'll be a little more questions to ask for you. But for everybody, but just to clarify, all the materials that we've released earlier are all online. The methodology didn't change. We now have an updated Excel spreadsheet. So basically, I'm going to work with you and make sure we put everything into one folder so it'll be clean for everybody. And I'll resend that link to everybody before the next call later this week.
Okay. All right. So then that brings us to the FEAT rail tool. Again, this is a very sketch level tool, and you know, given the resources and everything, you know, we told you from the beginning we'd be pulling from previous work to do a sketch level. Anytime that this is really kind of that first, does this project pass the sniff test type evaluation. Any of you that have been involved in evaluating freight rail projects know that it can be a very complicated process once you. All right, so this is the FEAT OPS model. So this is the economic analysis tool for operational improvements. This one is much more sketch level, as is the rail model. So for here, but it also, because it is more sketch level, it means that as a user, you have to have far less information. However, if you do have a detailed report that gives you some of the detailed information, it allows you to take advantage of that and override some of the default values that are in here. So once again, set up just like the ON model where we have this quick reference guide, same kind of notation. If it's in orange, then it's a drop-down menu for the user to select. If it's in green, then the user has to provide some information. So if we go to step 1, you're going to set this up in the same way. So you're going to name the project, and then you're going to go back here and you're going to tell it where to save it. So I'm going to create a new folder here, maybe. All right, and then this is where I'm going to save these particular ones. Now I'm hoping this doesn't bite me. I made a little change to one of the macros before we came on. So, all right, so here, once again, make sure you're all the way up to the top. Once you have those, your file paths named and everything, then you can go into your wage rate. So you have the same selection here, county or statewide. We'll keep it at county. You have your same kind of conversion factors and your safety and emissions. And then here, once again, you'll have your M-plan, your state, you'll choose your discount rate here, and then you'll have your starting analysis year and your end analysis year, your REMI base year, and then whether or not you want to estimate your fatality impacts. Now, for the operations tool, we are only estimating value of time and safety impacts, okay? So we're not getting all of the estimation tools in here because it is sketch level. For this, I'm sorry?
On the crash costs, did you say that those were the ones, the federal highway crash costs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right. So let's try to do an M-plan example here with Arkansas. So we can, once again, confirm our selection. Oops. All right. So we can proceed to, is it freezing up on me? Shoot. Shoot, Bruce, it may have been my computer freezing up on us earlier.
Because you're working it too hard.
It's not getting enough downtime at night.
You have to disconnect your Netflix account.
It's running. It's not letting me click anything right now. Let's give it a minute. Shoot. The Tuesday training went off without a hitch. And that's from the road. Normally you feel a little more comfortable when you're in your office. I don't know what's going on here. Might just have to close it out. It's just frozen. Okay, so let's pull it up. Fortunately, it's a quick one, so. Doesn't usually take this long to open, though. All right, so let's get started again. We'll go by here. This is where we need the music.
So, Paul, as we're going through this, I wrote some more things down about the report and the templates and stuff. When can you and I schedule a call to talk through this, just you and I? I'll send you on my list first, so that way at least you have something to respond to.
Yeah, that'd be great if you can send me a list.
Yeah, because I've got about 10 things I've already jotted down, so.
I mean, I hate opening my calendar. It's got like 15 invites for more meetings, so. Let's see, probably,
No, we can determine that later. I was just, in the time that was there, I was telling you I was going to put together my notes and send them to you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Are you going to be at SASHTO?
No.
Okay. Boy, I've really done something to make this mad. Okay. All right, so why does it keep linking? I don't know what it's linking to. Okay.
You might just have too many open programs.
I think that's what it is. So anyway, so you saw it pop over here. Once it got the confirm selection through, it's just taking a while because my computer's being slow right now. You have your number of projects up here. So you can do 100 projects if you want to do them all at one time. But let's just put in 2 and then hit confirm again, and hopefully it won't take so long. And then you'll get 2. So your project numbers, you need to leave those alone because the program uses those. If you have a separate project number, then use your project name to put in your agency specific number or name for your project, okay? And then, of course, the orange are going to be your drop-down. So this is the list of the types of projects that you choose from. So just as we said in Savannah, sometimes there could be projects that have 2 components. And so within the user guide, it tells you, based upon the type of project, whether that's going to be a modest, moderate, or an aggressive type project solution. Choose the project type that has the highest level of impact if you have a project that has 2 components to it, okay? So let's say we're going to add a turning lane. The project motivation can either be operational, safety, or both. If it's for operational, we're going to estimate the value of time impact. If it's safety, we'll estimate the safety impact. If it's both, it will include both of those. Okay. The county or the region, again, if you're an M-Plan user or if you don't have an economic model, we set you up on the county basis. If you're a RIMI user, it's going to be based upon your RIMI regions, okay? So let's say Boone County is getting here, and we have 4,500 average annual daily traffic. So that's really all the data you have to have. If you have more data or better data, keep that close at hand, especially let's say if you're going to do an interchange. So a lot of times interchange, especially if you're going to do an innovative intersection, you're going to have at least an interchange justification report or something that's going to give you a little better information. So with these are typically both operational and safety projects. And let's say, Arkansas, have you guys done one of these somewhere?
Safety? No, we have not.
Okay. Let's say we're going to do it in Pulaski, and this must be a pretty high volume, so we'll give it 8,600 in order to be doing. Okay. So once you have that information in, yes.
Question on that innovation one. When that pulls data, if we were doing a project where we were removing a pinch point, I have a vertical and horizontal clearance bridge going over my road, and I'm taking the clearance problems out. Would that be a good choice for that, or I'm not sure what it's going to evaluate and what it chooses?
For something like that, I think we actually have a bridge replacement. So we have a bridge replacement there. So if it's a vertical clearance, even if you're not going to be replacing the whole bridge, but you're fixing the issue, then that's the one that I would use.
Choose that for vertical, horizontal? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So for this, you can calculate and proceed to step 3, and it'll tell you your progress that you're making down here. And then the way we've set this up is that you're actually, from a benefit cost perspective, you're going to be putting them all together. But in terms of looking at your individual reports, an individual report like this is generated for each project that you put up there. So just because you're going to be using one tool to estimate 50 projects, you could still get an individual project report like this for each one of your projects. This is where we have a lot of the default values and the assumptions. So this is where oftentimes you could and will have a little better information, okay? So, for example, your average annual daily growth the default is 1%. If you know this is in a high growth area, then you should override that. Same thing with the truck volume. If you know it's a high truck corridor, then just type in, you know it's 20% instead of 10. So you type that in. And it's processing down here. So, and you'll see that the value used will be 20. Down here, the level of improvement. So this turning lane is considered to be a moderate improvement. And that means that the percent of the delay reduction is the default is going to be 30%. If you think it's going to reduce it more or less than that, or if you have analysis that shows that it's more or less than that, then you can override that. This is the other one here too. This is probably right here. I would say these two are likely to be the ones that you would override the most, because the default is you're always going to assume it's level of a service F, which means that it's going to have the highest range of delay per vehicle, okay? So you could either change it, like if you know that it's not level of, you don't know what the delay is, but you know that it's a level of service D, then you can change that. And it automatically changes the delay to the default level of delay that's associated with level of service D. Okay. If you know what the delay is, then you can go ahead and just put in the no-bill delay in terms of seconds. Okay. Next, we have the number of congested hours per day, and then we also have the split in terms of the trip purpose. So once again, those are all really easy to change if you have better information. So again, and the more detailed information and project-specific information you have, the less sketch level this becomes. Okay, and then you'll see the same sort of things down here. So. Okay. Once you've changed all of your defaults and you've overridden everything that you want to, you can proceed. And then with the summary report, it does just wrap everything up into a total here. Okay. So once again, for your detailed project by project, you're going to get it from this. Your summary report is going to tell you as a package of projects, this is then your total benefit. So to go to step 4 then, this is where it starts to look at, well, how are we going to input this into M-Plan? And it's just going to go down to, you'd have to go all the way down to, what county did we use for the, I know we used Pulaski for one. So here's Pulaski County. That's where we said one of the projects was. So you'll start to see some of the data input here, okay? So this is really giving you kind of your annualized stream for autos. The same would be, so you're only going to have data show up here for the counties in which you designated within your project example. So here's the other county that we chose. Okay, so then you hit the calculate M-Plan inputs, and you'll see that the whenever we confirmed the selection of state, it automatically made these tabs down here visible.
Those are
Things must just
costs.
take longer in Arkansas.
Well, you know, Virginia has that issue.
I know.
Did you say those are annualized costs on the tabs 4 and 5?
They're actually benefits, so yeah. Or the changes, they're changes. It could be cost, but hopefully if you're doing a project investment, they're getting better. Okay, so you'll see that the model's closed, so it saved it and closed it, and then here's what the in-plan input sheet's going to look like. Okay, so let's go back to our files here, and we said it's going to be oh, no, so, okay. So within the tool here now, it's actually inserted a sheet, the in-plan sheet. So this is your input sheet for Pulaski County, and this is your input sheet for your Boone County. So those were the two projects, and then the two counties that we had. All right, so I do not have your in-plan model, but when you do get with the in-plan model, you would import, you would open up the import, you would create your event, and then you would import those spreadsheets. So here's your Boone County, you would save that, and then there's your Pulaski County. So you would import those two spreadsheets in, and then from there, like I said, it will actually give you, this is what the tables look like coming out of your in-plan model. So you would just paste your total impact summary table from in-plan in here if you wanted to keep it all within your tool. Okay. Questions or comments? All right, I'm going to close out some of these so that we can hopefully run the rail a little faster. Let this close out. All right. Okay, so next we'll go to the rail tool. Okay, once again, the rail tool is a sketch level planning tool, and it's very simple for the user to use. However,